Two of the most recognisable anthems in world sport, of course. What should be a very interesting match. Games between these two sides are usually very enjoyable, whatever the score. And they're pretty evenly matched down the years. The Italians do have the edge. And certainly the Italians have the edge in matches where it matters at the World Cup or in qualification for a World Cup or European Championship. But England have enjoyed success against the Italians, and just a couple of years ago beat them 2-1 in a friendly, which in fairness was a little like this one this evening. Friendly where both coaches are taking the opportunity to experiment a little with their formations. The Italians, in fact, are showing 8 changes from the side that drew 2-2 with Bulgaria over the weekend as part of their European Championship qualifying group. And there are first starts for Citadine Eder, who came on as a sub and scored for the Italians, as well as for Roberto Soriano, who just has a couple of caps as substitute. But perhaps most interestingly, there's a first Italian cap, number 14, Mirko Valdifiori, at the age of 28. A little bit of a surprise choice, perhaps, but a very neat and tidy player, not dissimilar in style to Andrea Pirlo, whose role within the team Valdifiori will fulfill this evening. It's a 3-5-2 for Antonio Conte, and it's a very inexperienced lineup, just 30 caps between the 5 midfielders and 2 strikers put together. So marked contrast to England's striker Wayne Rooney, who has over 100. Well, there's been a lot of anticipation. I do apologise, slight technical issue there. There's been a lot of anticipation around the starting debut for England of Harry Kane in the number 9 shirt. Came on and scored on his debut as a substitute just 79 seconds into that game against Lithuania over the weekend, so didn't hang around, did he, the young man? Let's see what he can do against considerably stiffer opposition. Certainly the talent is there, and I've been speaking to a number of English journalists who, let's whisper it quietly, think that England have genuinely found a centre-forward to replace Alan Shearer. It's been a long search. Chiellini for the Italians. Early searching ball. Pellè wins a header, and he'll do that a few times this evening, the Southampton man. Delph steps in very neat and tidy. Henderson tries to get Kane going, and Kane allows the ball to run. Chiellini did not allow Kane to run. And it's a free kick for the visitors. Kane hobbling slightly, but I'm sure he'll be okay, moving towards the penalty area. England have taken the free kick already. No attempt to put it into the penalty box, just a chance to move the ball about, keep possession for a while. Just settle down a little bit. Henderson was looking long, but didn't really have the options he was searching for. Smalling it was in the end with the attempted longer pass, but England have it back nonetheless. There's Smalling again. Made his England debut as a right back, but more comfortable, I've always thought, at centre back. Here's Gibbs. England with the early possession. They've played a couple of times in Turin down the years. The last meeting here was decided by a single goal to nil in favour of the hosts. Rino Gattuso with the only goal. In fact, it was the only goal of his international career. The tigerish, competitive midfielder. Much decorated World Cup winner, of course. Soriano likes to run with the ball. Soriano, he's a tall, strapping, athletic figure. Not the most skilled, but he's tough. There he is in the picture. difficult to knock out of possession when he's in full flow. Stands a shade under 6 foot tall. Moves very well. Here's Gibbs. Italians backing off slightly as he advances into the Azzurri half. Delph. A little bit too slow there, Delph, but nonetheless, bright enough start by the English. 2.5 minutes gone. Throw in down for Kane, who didn't know too much about that, but he'll get another chance. Nice play from Delph, who kept possession tidily there. England, since the World Cup, have played 7 and won 7. It must be said that a number of those matches haven't necessarily been against opposition of the very top rank, but nonetheless, you can only beat who's put in front of you, and England have done that very convincingly for the most part. Italy have also played 7 matches since the World Cup. They've won 5 and drawn 2. Although they haven't looked particularly convincing in a lot of those games. Knocked on towards Eder, who's not going to get much joy physically out of Chris Smalling, but if the Brazilian-born striker can get the ball to his feet, then Smalling could be in a little bit of trouble, because he's a tricky customer, the Italian number 17. Mentioned that he scored on his debut, came on as a sub against Bulgaria and curled in a very fine goal from the edge of the penalty area to rescue a draw for his adopted nation. It's England with all the early running without creating very much. Bonucci stepped in though, one of the home players, 3 of them in the starting lineup: Buffon, Bonucci and Chiellini. Although it's widely expected that with Juventus's European commitments, all 3 of them will be replaced at half-time. We'll have to see how that pans out. Here's Soriano, good strength, couldn't quite find the right length on the pass to Eder though. And Joe Hart was out quickly enough. A shot there of Roy Hodgson, who had a couple of spells in Italy as a coach. 2 with Inter. Second one was very brief, in fairness, as a caretaker coach, but also took charge of Udinese. Not particularly successfully, it must be said. Here's Eder. Doesn't have much support. Pellè trying to pull away. Doesn't have the pace, Pellè, but powerful in the air. Has it wide. He's off. Wants more men to come forward and join the attack. That was pretty poor from Florenzi. 24-year-old Roma midfielder. Energetic player. 7 caps and 1 goal for the national team. That's not one he'll be putting in his highlights reel though. Delph. Option here with Gibbs, which he takes. Rooney changed the direction of his run, leaving Gibbs with no option other than to go backwards. Here's Delph again. Oh dear, that was very casual from the Aston Villa man. Here's Valdifiore. I mentioned he has very clever feet, the number 14, plays for Empoli. In fact, he's Empoli's 6th most present player, they would say in Italian. Più presente. Just over 220 league matches for them down the years. And only the 3rd Empoli player to make his debut for Italy as an Empoli player. There've been a few who've begun elsewhere and then moved to Empoli and got caps, but he's only the 3rd Empoli player to begin his international career there. Antonio Di Natale and Massimo Maccarone were the other 2, in case you're wondering. How's that for a nerdy fact? Florenzi miles offside, but had no chance of keeping the ball in anyway. Felix Brick is the man in charge, if you were wondering. German contingent in charge of the match. Referee, assistants, and the 4th official is Italian from Bergamo. Walcott, who's not been in the game so far. That was an awkward pass to control, in fairness. Had to try and catch it behind him with his backside, and unsurprisingly not able to pull that trick off. Here's Eder. Not sure if he let that run deliberately, but he's turned it on to Pellè, who, well, hoiked it on. Gets a round of encouraging applause from Conte, but I have to say it's a strange choice, Graziano Pellè, for me, to start. He's looked absolutely shorn of confidence for the last 2 or 3 months at Southampton. Started the season very well. Just doesn't look the same player now. I'm not convinced that putting on the blue shirt will change that, but maybe he'll go and score a hat-trick now. Smalling covering Eder. Just under 8 minutes gone. If you're just joining us, welcome along. Italy versus England in this prestigious friendly match. No chances as of yet for either side. England have been better in possession so far, but the Italians won't mind that because they've not been hurt defensively. Klein does well to judge the bouncing ball. Here's Henderson. Rooney dropping very deep. Strength carries him past the challenge of Pellè. Of Parolo, rather. Ball inside. That's a nice little touch. Rooney's there. Couldn't get enough onto it. Kane was loitering as well, and the Italians have a chance to break. Crowd wanted Soriano to run with the ball. That's a nice ball into Pellè. Has support here. Just Eder in the penalty area, and he's not going to win many headers. So the Italians, perhaps quite rightly, taking their time, picking the balls. Here's Parolo. Turned in first time by Florenzi. Wasn't a bad idea. That, on the other hand, was. Hart hoofing the ball 25 yards beyond where Walcott had any chance of getting onto it, even with his pace. Referee insisting that the throw-in is taken from somewhere a little closer to the correct spot. Pellè. That's a nice little layoff. Play spread by Parolo. Darmian. Attack-minded fullback, can play either side. Here comes the long-range effort! And it was a good effort as well from Marco Parolo, who does have a good shot on him. 30-year-old Lazio man. Doesn't score that many, but when he does, they tend to be from this sort of range. Really connected well, and it swerved viciously in the air. It's a good save from Hart, though. Italy have the corner. Good delivery, Hart with the punch. Italy keep the ball in the penalty area. England clear their lines. Rooney with the weighted volley. Didn't get enough on it, though. And Italians preferring to go back to Buffon. That's not the best first touch from the veteran, though. Second touch is much more assured. Here's Parolo. Again, Valdefiore with the first-time pass on, and it was an accurate one. He's already showing signs that he's not overawed by the occasion. Italians desperate to find a backup to Andrea Pirlo as age and injuries start to take their toll on the magical midfielder. Marco Verratti, the 22-year-old who plays for Paris Saint-Germain, has been tried a few times, including in Friday's match against Bulgaria, but the truth is he's always disappointed. He's not that sort of player. He's tidy, yes, but he's not a playmaker. And I think Conte may have realised that, and is trying another option here with the number 14. Buffon has let the ball run to generous applause from the home supporters. Many, of course, will be season ticket holders here for Juve. Florenzi, who it's a second or third rather loose touch from the Roma man. Buffon gambling slightly, doesn't quite know what to do with it. In the end, he puts it into no man's land, gets away with it. England defenders not falling for the dummy by Eder. Here's Gibbs. Delph. Walcott with the give and go, went towards the penalty area, but the ball didn't find its way back to him as he was looking. These sides last met in the World Cup last summer. Italy triumphed by 2-1. Neither goal scorer starting tonight. Marchisio because of injury, Balotelli because he's been left out of the squad. England's goal scorer, interestingly, is also missing through injury, Daniel Sturridge. But it was a strange World Cup for both teams because that was a good game of football. Both teams looked pretty good, Italy in particular. And they would have gone into their games against Uruguay and Costa Rica with confidence, but a week or so later, both teams were on the plane home. Here's Rooney. A bit slow on that occasion, Rooney, and the ball was taken from him. Italians looking to break quickly with Adair. Does well to defend possession and wins the free kick. It was Klein coming back at him, the number 2. Adair did well to stay on his feet there and got his body between man and the ball. Fall may have been a little theatrical, but there was certainly contact. Referee saw enough. And as we move towards the 14th minute, Italy have a free kick. It's a fair old distance, but they've got a couple of players who might fancy their chances. Valdifiori takes a decent set piece. Adair likes a shot from distance as well. In fact, it may be the striker, and he may wish that he'd left that to somebody else. Having won the free kick, he perhaps felt he had the right to take it, but yeah, he may well look towards the skies. Ball was closer to the sky than it was to the goal, unfortunately, on that occasion. Joe Hart with the goal kick. 50th appearance for Joe Hart tonight for his country. Splendid milestone for any footballer. Ball goes over Kane's head. He's not yet had a significant touch of the ball, the young England centre-forward. Kane waiting. Picking his pass. He's asking a lot of Klein, though. England have the free kick. Noticeable how deep, how quickly Wayne Rooney is becoming. Does that when he gets frustrated, when he doesn't see enough of the ball further forward sometimes. He's now England's furthest man forward, which is probably where he should be. Here's Smalling, looking to up the pace, but he telegraphed that pass all day to a defender as experienced as Bonucci. Gibbs couldn't quite keep it in. England comfortably top of their European Championship qualifying group. 5 wins from 5, and with the top 2 to qualify, they're in very, very good position to make it through to France next year. Italy should also be there. They've got a slightly more complicated group, in fairness. They're second behind Croatia, and their next match is away to the Croats, who look very, very good. And Italy here have a good chance, and they've got men in the box. It's a great run through! And it's good defending in the end from Phil Jagielka, who got there just ahead of Adair. Chiellini it was with the pass. And Darmian with the run. Looked up, did the right thing. Couldn't quite find the blue shirt. That's the closest we've come so far. In comes the corner. It's another very good delivery. It was interesting against Bulgaria. I watched the match that Italy had, I think, 14 corners, and not a single one of them was particularly well delivered. They didn't create any danger at all to the Bulgarian defence, and they should have done, because the Bulgarian keeper Mihailov is very susceptible on crosses, and Italy didn't do enough with their corners. They've had 2 so far this evening, and Valdefiori has hit both of them in with considerable venom and poise. Here's Soriano. Nice little ball. Picks up the return. Keeps things moving. Parolo. Florenzi. Turned forward first time, this time by Valdefiori, but nobody was making that move for him. Jagielka and Fabian Delph currently in the left-back position, but Gibbs is further forward. Here's Phil Jones. Again, a little bit predictable from the England midfield. They've given away possession a few times in situations like that, completely telegraphing the intentions. Nicely turned on, and he's onside, Parolo. He's got a couple of options coming into the penalty area for him if he can find the right ball. He couldn't. Florenzi might, though. Decent delivery. And Darmian gave away the free kick. Italy have just stepped it up a little bit in the last few minutes, which will please the coach, Conte. It wasn't a bad ball in, and it was an awkward one for Klein to defend, and in the end the England fullback did very well there, getting his thigh to the ball, body between the ball and the man. Kane with the flick on, Walcott. Bit of a mix-up between Walcott and Rooney there, as to who is going to take responsibility for it. Poor kick from Buffon. Pellè. Distributed wide. Florenzi. Rather floated pass, and was always going to struggle to find his man with that. Valdefiori. Bit of flick off from Pellè. Couldn't quite find his teammate with it, though. Walcott. Chance to turn and run. He's quicker than any of the Italian defenders. If he could get into open space, England could exploit that. Here's Delph. Gibbs forced infield. He's got an option to the right, which is Walcott, who's dropped now further forward. Klein with the ball into Jones. Rooney. Arrowed across for Fabian Delph, who's looking for the cross, and it's not a bad one to Kane at the far post. Rooney off the bar and away. Florenzi will clear downfield, and the Italians have had a lucky escape there. In truth, it wasn't the cleanest of strikes from Wayne Rooney. Drove it into the ground, but Buffon was temporarily lost and was very relieved to see it bounce back off his crossbar. Best passage of play from England so far. Here's Gibbs. Delph, whose dangerous cross it was, led to the trouble. Rooney. Little nutmeg pass through the legs of Parolo. Delph again with a nice swirling ball. Kane goes for it. Klein's there. Still the crossing opportunity presents itself. The hooked attempt. The appeal for handball, but referee very, very close, said no. Here's the previous cross. Buffon did well, in fairness, in the first instance. This is the second. Oh, I'm sorry, beg your pardon. That was the incident that led to Wayne Rooney's miss-hit shot off the crossbar. Jones stands over the free kick. Injury-interrupted career, Phil Jones. Starting in midfield tonight. There's still a lot of debate as to whether he's a better midfielder or defender. Not quite sure any of the managers who've had him down the years have made a firm decision on that. I'm not even sure if Jones himself knows, but I'm sure he's delighted to be back in England colours. There's Delph. Walcott. And Klein on the right-hand side trying to combine. It was Klein who cut infield there as Walcott pulled away. Smalling taking on Italian players. Rooney it was who got the ball caught under his feet slightly, and the Italians have a chance to break, but prefer the security of possession at the moment. Pellè wins the header. He's done that a few times already, Graziano, Pellè. To Kieran Gibbs. Sides first met back in 1933. 1-1 draw under the watchful eye of a certain Benito Mussolini. England won a return match the following year, which has gone down in history as the Battle of Highbury. A number of players who took part in it have described it as the dirtiest game of football they were ever involved in. Players from both sides equally guilty. Florenzi, who just, to me, doesn't look up to the pace of the game. Hasn't had possession that much, and pretty much every time he's had possession, he's lost it or given it away. Did put in one dangerous cross, though, in fairness to the young Roman. Interesting that a bit further forward, while the camera focuses on Andrea Ranocchia, Graziano Pellè is having a chat with a couple of the midfielders, indicating that he wants them to move a little bit closer to him when the ball is played up. Here's Ranocchia. Parolo. Eder, first touch wasn't the best, but he has plenty of time. Darmian is an option on the left for Soriano. Valdefiore takes the safe option back to Leonardo Bonucci. The little chest off is a nice one, but well, I thought it was a little chest off. It was, according to the referee, a handball off. Might get a chance to see a replay of that. Well, I'm not sure. Not sure at all about that, but anyway, the decision has been made, and protests weren't vehement from either side, so Joe Hart has the free kick for England. Looks long for the run of Kane. Valdefiore turns away from Rooney. Gibbs played into a little bit of trouble there by Delph. Ball was put in behind him and he had to turn and scamper somewhat, but England have played their way out pretty comfortably in the end. Here's Valdefiore. Rooney pressurises him. Rooney shrugs him out of possession and moves forward. He's got Walcott making a run away to the left. Here is Walcott, can get it onto that dangerous right foot. Well, he did, but in fairness, the Italians defended well. Closed down the space that was available to him. They could see what he was trying to do. Ranocchia. Yes, it was Ranocchia and Bonucci both across, and Ranocchia with the sliding challenge. Well done from the Inter man. Walcott looking to get forward, but Buffon comfortably in control of that one. Welcome along if you're just joining us. the Juventus Stadium, Turin. Italy 0, England 0. But it's not been a dull game by any stretch of the imagination. Both sides have had their moments. In comes the cross made there, and it wasn't bad either. Smalling will need to deal with it. Was a little hurried. Delph does well, stretching out. Rooney couldn't quite tame the pass, although it was an awkward one in fairness. Valdifiori, nice ball inside. And Italy have the corner. Pellè it was with the first time shot on the turn, which was blocked. Italy have another corner, and Chiellini and Bonucci, the twin towers from Juventus, move forward. Both of them, particularly Chiellini, very dangerous in the air. Delivery is decent as well from Florenzi. Cross comes in again, and it's in! Well, there was a check for offside from Graziano Pellè, but he has his goal, and Italy take the lead. He was unmarked as the corner went across the box and was forced back into the penalty area by Chiellini. Not the man you would normally expect to be delivering crosses, more getting on the end of them or blocking them. And that will do Pellé's confidence the world of good. Chiellini on his weaker right foot bullied his way past Phil Jones, and no one was even close to Pellè. Nice cross from Chiellini. Nobody had picked up the tall Southampton man, and Hart was always struggling. And Italy have the lead. And it's his second international goal in just his third appearance. What will England have by way of a response? Valdifiori, very, very clever play. Delph. England have noticeably stepped up the pace a little bit. A goal tends to do that to you. Henderson. Smalling needs somebody to come closer to him. That's what he was asking for. He was asking for Walcott to move for him, and Walcott was moving away. Here's Delph. Cuts inside the challenge, but doesn't actually make any ground. That's a better ball. Kane, nice attempted pass. Knew what he was trying there. Almost played Henderson in. Chance here, and Ranocchia across and took no chances. Little grimace from Theo Walcott. And England with the set piece, and this is where traditionally they're strong. Tall, powerful aerial figures. It's a decent delivery as well. It's gone all the way through though. Here's Gibbs. Italy clear their lines. Here's a chance for Valdifiori. The counter-attack is on if Italy take the opportunity. That's a free kick. And there are two Italians on the ground now. Don't think Valdifiori is too badly hurt. But Adair might be. Took a little bit of a whack. Well, it was a very awkward landing, in fairness. There was nothing malicious in the challenge on him by the England man, but that was a very, very nasty way to hit the ground. It was Jones in the challenge, I think. No, there's nothing malicious there. Oh, dearie me. That can't have been pleasant. And a stretcher is coming on, and I'm not surprised. England fans away to my left find their voice. Roy Hodgson a little concerned. Team are a goal down, but they haven't played badly. And it's a much changed England lineup as well. Shorn of the likes of Welbeck and Sturridge, who would almost certainly have started tonight if available. Certainly Sturridge, you feel, would have played up front. And Italy themselves also without a number of their big hitters. Pirlo, Montolivo, Marchisio, De Rossi, all injured. That's a pretty impressive midfield quartet. And Mario Balotelli left out. Eder is back on his feet and is on the sidelines waiting to come back on. It's good to see that he's okay. That could have been very, very nasty the way he landed. Soriano. Pass in field to Bonucci. Eder looking to get the wrong side of the defender. Used his body illegally to do so, though. Italy just one survivor in this starting lineup from the side that met England in the World Cup last summer, Giorgio Chiellini, although Marco Parola, who's starting tonight, did come on as a sub in that match. England with Hart, Jagielka, Rooney and Henderson, survivors from that England starting 11. Raheem Sterling, another England injury as well, I should have mentioned perhaps. Rooney with the attempted back heel, but didn't pull it off, and Juventus and Italian supporters in the stadium letting him know that he didn't pull it off. 47 goals for his country. Wayne Rooney just 2 short of Bobby Charlton's all-time record, 1 short of Gary Lineker, although Lineker, in fairness, achieved his 48 in markedly less matches than Rooney. Still, Lineker was an out-and-out striker, which Rooney hasn't always been for his country. Very, very impressive strike rate at international level, at any level really, a goal pretty much every 2 games. Here's Jagielka. That was a senseless little tug from Pellè. Absolutely no need to do it. And he goes into the book. It wasn't vicious, in fairness, but it was stupid. And he's the first player to see yellow this evening. Rooney with the layoff. Delph tried to force the cross in. Florenzi with the clearance. Valdefiore helps it on to Eder. Nice touch from the striker. Earns the throw-in. With the header, did well actually to judge an awkward spinning ball. Soriano, nice little layoff by Parola. The Italians just taking control of this match, one feels, at least at the moment. There was a swift response from England after Italy scored their goal, but since then it's the Italians who've just had a bit more measurement about their possession. And they've earned another corner here, which Alessandro Florenzi will take. It's been an up-and-down season for Florenzi and Roma. Started so well, but they faded away very badly, and Juventus will be strolling to the title yet again this season. In it comes, decent delivery. Several men up at the back post. Smalling went to ground, but he's up. He seems to be okay. The Italians still have it. Another very, very impressive delivery, and there's a half chance here if it falls kindly, and it doesn't. England clear their lines. Italy still in possession though, and still driving forward. The clever little clipped pass has too much weight on it. Hart has got an option out left if he wants it quickly. It's Kieran Gibbs, but didn't see it or didn't fancy it. Smalling in. Kane with the layoff. Gibbs has Delph available. Delph quickly closed down, does well to find Kane. Shows too much of that, surely. Yes, he does, to Adair, but England get the break. Delph spreads play nicely. Nathaniel Klein. Oh dear. Better play from England up until that point, though. Here's Soriano, Italy. Again, perhaps with the counter-attacking options. They haven't got too many men forward. Here's one of them, though, and he's tidy. Cross comes in. Pellè! Well, Italy very, very swift to expose England there. Pellè attempting the glancing header, didn't quite manage to get anything on it, but here's Valdefiori. Adair. Darmian. Soriano, the Sampdoria man, who started to come into the game a little bit more in the last 15-20 minutes after a pretty anonymous start. Bonucci likes those long raking passes, and it was a good one, but he caught Darmian offside, according to the referee's assistant down here on this near side. Let's have a look. Yes, he was. Comfortably so, you could see by the lines on the pitch. Jagielka. Club side Everton struggling a little at the moment in the Premier League. Trying to do keep their head above the parapet, not go into the get involved in the relegation scrap, get dragged down into that. But he's always been a solid performer for England, regardless of club form. He's one of those players who seems to be able to adjust to the national setup. Some can and some can't. Here's Kane. Klein. Quick feet on the far side, but England just at the moment struggling to create anything through the Italian defence, which looked all at sea at times against Bulgaria at the weekend, but has tidied itself up a lot since then. Here's Gibbs with the crossing opportunity. England have had a couple of good crosses, though, and a couple of moments where they've caused problems. Here's Adair. Delph did well to come back and force him into the easy option rather than the more ambitious pass that I think Adair was initially looking for. But the Italians have dictated possession over these last 10 minutes or so, really since scoring. Ranocchia. Turned forward by Parolo. That was a bit casual, though. Walcott. Ball won't sit down for him. That was a foul. Missed his control in the first instance, Walcott, and then as he protected the possession with his body, Valdefiori clattered into the back of him. There's an England man down. It looks like Chris Smalling. A couple of the England medics are coming on to have a look at him. Joe Hart across from his goal to show his concern. Yeah, it is Smalling. And there's going to be a change. That would be the indication. And it's just a couple of minutes till half-time, but it obviously must be something he feels is quite serious that can't be run off before the break. England have Gary Cahill as a centre-back on the bench. They have Kyle Walker predominantly a right-back. They also have a left-back in Ryan Bertrand, but Cahill presumably is the most likely substitute. In comes the free kick in the meantime. Henderson, it's a decent delivery. Darmian, it was, toe poking it away. Oh, it's actually going to be Carrick, which means Phil Jones will drop into the centre of the defence and Carrick will take over from Jones in midfield. Disappointment for Smalling, who was in the World Cup squad last summer. Missed out on the games against Italy and Uruguay, both of them defeats for England, and they were eliminated. And having been eliminated, he got a start against Costa Rica in Game 3, but that game also finished in a disappointing result for the English, 0-0. And here's confirmation of the change. Well, the stadium announcer calling him Michael Carriage. Doesn't watch much Champions League football, does he? Carrick. And in fairness, at the moment, Carrick seems to be slotting into the centre-back role. It'll be interesting to see if that's just a temporary measure till half-time. Italy with the throw-in on the near side. Alessandro Florenzi with it, looking down the line for the height and aerial prowess of Pellè. That was a late challenge from Edea, and he'll acknowledge that. Yes, he will. Just caught Jagielka, or at least if he didn't catch him, he could have done, and it was a foul. No, there's Jones. Duff carrying possession. Henderson needs to keep it moving. England haven't moved the ball quickly enough, often enough. Here's Gibbs trying to buy some space. And has he won the corner? He has. Florenzi feels he was fouled by the young fullback, but referee saw it otherwise. And we've moved into stoppage time at the end of the first half. We're going to have just 1 minute of it, according to the fourth official. So maybe just time for England to have the corner. That's not properly in the corner area. So many modern players just seem to get away with that little trick. I know it doesn't make a huge difference, but if you're a stickler for the rules, as I am, then fourth officials or assistant referees, if not the referee themselves, should be picking up players for that. Anyway. Hart with the long clearance, Kane underneath it. Hasn't had much joy in the air, Kane, so far. Hasn't had much joy at all, truth be told. But he hasn't been very well serviced. Wayne Rooney hit the bar with a mis-hit shot after Kane's height had caused problems from a Fabian Delph cross, but that was England's best moment. Henderson didn't quite know what to do there. And as he moves away, the referee brings the first half to a conclusion, and a reasonably entertaining game between Italy and England here. It's the Italians who lead 1-0. Graziano Pellè with a header just before the half-hour mark. I hope you'll join us for the second half.